Hello everybody and welcome to the Guitar Cave podcast, the place where me and my guests talk all things guitars, gear, metal and anything else we want really. Joining me today is my next guest. He is the guitarist and vocalist of Follow the Hawk. Previous bands include Bear Trap and Subversion, and anywhere you go on the Kent or London underground scene, someone's bound to have heard his name. But for anyone who hasn't heard of him, you're going to learn all about him today. He is Mr. Charlie Barnes. How are you, sir? How are you? Thank you so much for appearing on my new podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. I'm better now I've got beer in me.
Oh yeah. Let's have a bit. Let's have a little tink. There we go. New beers every podcast. Have you noticed that? All right, Charlie. Let's venture back.
Okay.
Tell the people how you got into music. When did this start? Like, what made you pick up a guitar in the first place?
Well, I think when I first started playing music, I learned to play the piano when I was really young, probably when I was around 8 years old or something along those lines. And I was learning that for a few years and then gave it up when I went into secondary school because it wasn't cool.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, and then a few years down the line, my dad plays guitar. He's played guitar his whole life, or at least since I've been around. So there's always been guitar music in the house, mainly classical Spanish sort of vibes. And he tried to get my little brother into guitar, and I think being young, I was a bit jealous. I wasn't doing it as well, so I was butting in and stealing his guitar and trying to learn the things that he was learning. And then I just picked it up from there really, and really got into it. When I got to secondary school, I really got into music in general. Started taking guitar lessons at school from a guy called Eddie, a great guy. And it was more of a muck around really. I think up until that point, learning music had been a chore, and then he kind of said to us, what do you want to play? And at the time, we were listening to Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance and bands like that, and we were like, I want to learn how to play Sugar We're Going Down.
Yeah, I think that's quite a regular thing though. When you're a kid learning an instrument, it's very much adults kind of telling you what to learn.
Exactly.
At first, because you're given all these books and like, all right, we're going to learn this today, and you're kind of like, why?
Yeah.
I started off with piano, and it was very much like that. I had to learn like fucking ragtime songs and old Celtic songs, and I'm like, why can't I learn classical music? Why can't I learn like Moonlight Sonata? Because that's the stuff I want to learn. Obviously, I had to progress to that level eventually, but
see, I think that actually, funnily enough, the ragtime music on the piano was the stuff that I enjoyed the most. Like you played earlier on your piano, you were playing the Entertainer, and I remember learning that myself and going, I really enjoy this, and that turned into like my party piece. I only learned the first bit. I never got onto the din 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 bit. So I only had the first bit, and wherever I went, if there was a piano, I'd be like, I'm going to go, like 9-year-old me, I'm going to go play the piano. And just walk over to a piano and start playing, trying to impress people. But it was really those guitar lessons at school where we were learning. I mean, we weren't even learning, it was a fuck around. It was a bit of a laugh, really. Oh dear, have you knocked your beer over?
No, that's fine.
Okay. I remember, we'd go there to bunk off, and he wouldn't tell us to go back to our lessons. He'd just like come in and sit down, and he showed us like comedians. Like, I don't know if you've heard of an American comedian called Mitch Hedberg. He's dead now. Lots of one-liners. He showed us that, so we would sit around listening to CDs and watching videos of that, and we used to like do stupid things like staple each other in the arms and stupid shit like that, you know what I mean? So we weren't actually doing much music playing, but the atmosphere was like, he was just like one of us guys, and we were just mucking around. I think in that relaxed environment, I really got into it, and that's where I started to pick it up and started to play it properly. Cool.
Yeah. So what got you from like being in that sort of relaxed state of mind to then getting over and starting bands?
Well,
just being in bands in general.
Well, probably owe that to my mate Robbie, who plays in Follow the Hawk with me. So we were at the same school, and we were both taking these guitar lessons together, and we had a very early band in school, which we played a couple of songs with. I'm not going to mention the name because it's atrocious.
Go on.
We were called Kaplunk. Not named after the Green Day album for some strange reason. I don't think we even really knew who Green Day were at the time, which is really weird. But yeah, we did that, and we played a few songs at school in like assemblies and concerts and stuff like that. And then we decided to go to what was called Northwest Kent College at the time, now just called North Kent College. And that's where we really got into it. And obviously the first band was Bear Trap. So we met Adam Dre, who played drums, and Callum Eastman, who was the bassist. And originally, I think Robbie, Callum and Adam were going to do this thing anyway. They were all really into Gallows, The Bronx, Cancer Bats, bands like this. They're really into that music. And I came along not really knowing anything about it. I mean, I remember I learned so much about music in college. I found so many bands I loved. I remember hearing Sugar Coated Sour by Dillinger Escape Plan for the first time in one of the rooms and going, what the fuck is this?
I remember listening to them back in the day.
Like, this music makes absolutely no sense, but it's amazing. But yeah, so they were listening to loads of punky music, and they started writing a couple of songs. And I said, hey, would you mind if I came in and just shouted the fuck all over this? They're like, yeah, sure, go for it. So that's how Bear Trap started. And then it was like, well, I guess we should probably get some gigs, write some songs and get some gigs.
Sweet.
And we met, Adam Fillery and doing the Rock Matrix stuff. And at the time in Dartford, which is where we were based, really, you had Barmondo was putting on gigs. You had gigs at Bull and Vic, you had gigs at the Courthouse, you had gigs all over. Dartford was great for it. Amar Hall, Acacia Hall.
Yeah, I played at Amar Hall once.
All those places, which obviously none of those venues do live music anymore.
No, which is a real shame. I don't even know if some of them are still there.
No, Mondo's is closed, which is a big shame. Obviously, you used to have some great shows there. Julie used to do Pocket Fluff there.
Yeah.
And even not just rock music. I mean, there was a drum and bass group who used to go there and put on shows, live MCs.
I remember Barmondo because I'd done a show there the night before Halloween. I think it was 2012.
Cool.
Or 2011. And I dressed up as that pig guy from Saw.
Yes.
And then after I'd done the set, I took the pig mask off, and it was just half filled with sweat. It was disgusting, man.
And you think this is what Slipknot feel like?
But Barmondo is a great place to play, like when you're like a small band back in the day, because you get 10 people in that place.
And it's packed.
And it's packed. You're like, I'm playing to a sold out room.
Yeah.
But it's like reality is like 10 people there. You can order a drink while you're playing.
Yeah.
And you ain't got to move anywhere. But it was fun though.
That was the great thing about it. And like at that time, like Barmondo's was, I guess, our home next to, say, the Red Lion. That was the place we played most of our shows because we were inexperienced. We didn't know about any other venues. We were playing with bands like Arcades. Those guys have gone on to do different bands now, great bands. What are they doing now? Jazz Hands, MVPs, all sorts of great stuff. And I don't know if you remember bands like Dead on Live TV or Cities or Reykjavik or anything like that, weird punky or pop punk bands. And it was like a really cool little scene. And we were, as you say, packing out the venue, even though it only took 10 people to pack it out. But I remember we did, a few years back now, when Barmondo's was closing, for the last weekend we did a reunion show. And it had been about, I don't know, 5 or so years since Bear Trap had broken up. And the place, so going from it being packed by 10 people, it actually was packed, you could not move, the PA was falling over and the sweat dripping off the ceiling and things were getting broken and stuff like that. People were stealing things off the walls because it was just like, this is the last night here. I want the clock. I want the fairy lights that are around the mirror. I want the mirror. You know what I mean? Just taking everything. Yeah, exactly. Stealing kegs out from the bar and shit. Yeah, that was great days. Great days. Yeah. And then obviously Subversion as well. So I did Subversion, which you'd probably be a little bit better versed in because we would have played shows together in Subversion when you were in ATF.
Yeah, we did play quite a few shows together.
And that was great. So I joined Subversion just after Bear Trap had started, probably around 2009, I would say.
So did you join like after Subversion formed?
Yeah, kind of. So I auditioned to be the vocalist through a guy called Jay who was playing guitar at the time, and didn't get the gig. And they formed as a band, as a 6-piece, or however many members we were at the time, with a girl playing the keyboards. Excuse me. And she left, and they were like, "Oh, we need a keyboardist." And I said, "Well, I can play a bit of piano from back in the day. Why don't I give it a shot?" So I went round to Kai's house. Kai, who's the founder of the band and the big boss, essentially. Kai version, yeah. Played him a bit of, I kind of figured out one of the songs because a friend of mine called Steve was playing bass, so he taught me one of the songs. And yeah, he was like, "Yeah, this is sick, you can come and play with us." So I went to a practice and demanded I had a microphone. I was like, "I want a microphone as well," which I guess probably at the time put Spencer's back up a bit, Spencer the vocalist, but over time it turned into me and him kind of both being the front men of the band.
Yeah, because I remember seeing you guys a lot, and like, so obviously, the keys responsibility in Subversion wasn't all the time, was it? You didn't need to be on the keys all the time, because there was a lot of times when you would come to the front of the stage and steal focus.
Yeah. So I don't want to say.
I remember that. Oh, there's Charlie.
Yeah. Oh, there he is.
Let's watch him
with a big bald head at the time, which I probably had, or a weird little fucking emo fringe.
Yeah, I remember the emo fringe.
Yeah, I think because we originally, so we started it off having both, so we had 2 keyboards and I would play everything. And then Kai started wanting to have backing tracks because he wanted to do like sub drops and sound effects and stuff like that. So we started putting some of the keys onto the backing tracks, so I only had to play 1 keyboard and then I could half focus on vocals. And then slowly it just kind of went, "Oh, goodbye keyboards," everything went onto backing track and it was just me and Spencer at the front. And then, sadly, Spencer decided that he no longer wanted to do it. So I took over full vocal duties. Now, here's something that you might not know.
Go on.
I can guarantee you that I never, ever, in my whole time in Subversion, knew every single lyric to a song. A lot of it was made up on the spot by myself. The songs had lyrics.
Does Kai know that? Or is
he Kai knows this. It was a long-running joke. Towards the end, obviously, I did know I knew what was going on. But the songs all had lyrics because Kai, people might not know this, on the first album, Kai recorded all of the vocals, including the screams.
That was on the Lest We Forget.
Lest We Forget. I'm trying to think. Oh, Spencer might have recorded some vocals on it, but I think Spencer did record the scream vocals, but on all the demos, Kai recorded all the vocals.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because on the album, I've got the Lest We Forget album, because there was one track on there that I really loved, which is Failed Alliance. I love that song. I love that song, but that was definitely Spencer's vocals at the start. Definitely.
Failed Alliance was one of my favourites as well, and we had another one.
Butchered was quite a favourite one with the
Butchered was great.
Intro.
Yeah,
that was pretty awesome as well.
Butchered was kind of like an anthem for us, I guess. It was the one that people
knew. That was
knew.
The popular one. That was one that everyone always wanted at the shows.
And there was another song. I can't remember which one it was now. But there was a few songs. So over the course of the album being recorded, me and Kai would stay up really, really late, figuring out where the album was going to go. Recording sound effects because obviously it was a story album.
Yeah.
So like you hear all the army bits, like there's little skits in it of like there's one of people jumping out of a plane, like paramilitary people jumping out of a plane to go behind enemy lines. And we recorded those sound effects in a field. So we took his bikes, we had little tiny BMXs. I think I was on his child bike, so my arse was like this high off the floor. We were riding around Swanley trying to find a field where we wouldn't get shot by a farmer at like 3 a.m. or something ridiculous. And march into this field, and we're just gonna scream as loud as we can, shout, say words. He had a tiny little recorder thing that we would shout into. So all of those sound effects, apart from obviously like sirens going off and bombs hitting, were all us in the middle of a field. So we would spend X amount of nights staying up until 6, 7, 8 in the morning recording these things, and then going to band practice straight after, which is horrible. Nice. Whilst he would be on the computer doing stuff, I would write little bits on the piano, which is where you got In Order to Live, I believe was the track, the little piano piece. I wrote that one night just out of whim. Kai was doing his recording, and then he'd finished his recording. I went, "Oh mate, listen to this." Press play. He said, "Oh mate, that's fucking amazing. That's going on the album." We slot it straight in.
Sweet.
Yeah, I completely forgot where I was going with this. There was a point to what I was saying, and I've forgotten what it was. Anyway, yes. So I eventually took over main vocal duties. Steve Cross left the band on drums, and we got a guy called Ben. And then I left. I left in 2013. My last show was Tech Fest, where we had Spencer came back for a couple of songs, and we had another guy called Laurie, I think his name was. He was in another band, and he came on and did some vocals as well. And it was really cool. He did all the new songs that I didn't know. So. Yeah, and that's pretty much up until For a Hawthorne.
I think they had like a couple more vocalists as well.
Yeah.
I think they had a guy called Carl Harrigan for a while.
Carl did vocals after him, and then Jay came in.
And
Jay was the guy who did the second album.
And then that's when I think Subversion sort of folded after that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they've, as far as I know, they've not officially broken up.
Extended hiatus.
Yes, yeah. Very extended. I don't think any of them have picked up an instrument for a couple of years, which is a real big shame, because they're good guys, they're really good musicians.
Talented,
yeah, very talented. And I mean, we spoke very briefly when I think you guys were talking about maybe doing an old school comeback show with ATF, or someone had told me, and I was asked if Subversion would come and do it, and if I would go back and do vocals for a couple of times. And I was like, yeah, fucking too right, I would. I'd love that for one night. Yeah. Obviously, it wouldn't be something that I would do for a long time, but I'd love to do it for one night.
Yeah, I think like my old band, we had like fucking 3 or 4 reunion shows, didn't we? In the end,
they had some fucking sick songs though, man.
We say it was reunion shows. It was they were never. We had one reunion show, and then we gigged so little that every time we done a gig, everyone was like, "Hey, you guys are doing another comeback show."
It's a reunion show.
It's not a comeback show. It's just our next show.
We just haven't played for 6 fucking months.
I think like a year and a half was like the longest in that time. Oh,
I'd like to think that from the last show you'd actually planned the show a year and a half in advance. It's like, no, we've got the next gig. We're just building up to it.
Upcoming shows next year. All right, cool. Well, let's segue that into your current band then, Follow the Hawk.
Follow the Hawk.
So can you talk to us about the formation and
sure.
How that started?
So I think coming off the back of Subversion, sorry, I've got a cold and I've got so much gunk up in my face. The reason I left Subversion, at the time, it wasn't really what I wanted to do musically. Even the music that we had been doing was changing into something else that I didn't really enjoy. Sadly, I enjoyed to listen to, but it wasn't giving me the thrill to do it live.
Yeah, so you enjoyed playing it.
Exactly. And I went, do you know what? I just want to do a straight up rock band. So I gave Robbie a shout from Bear Trap. I said, "Hey, do you want to get back together and start doing some more music?" He was like, "Yeah." We chatted with a friend of ours called Martin Kingsmill, who used to be the vocalist from Cities, who I spoke about earlier. He would come play drums, so me and Robbie on guitar, Martin on drums, and we had another friend called Dan Pittman to come and play guitar as well, so we wanted 3 guitars. Yeah. Dan used to play in a band called Monday Street from the area. They were really kind of indie-ish pop band, but really cool songs. Cool. So we thought, okay, all of this will kind of meld together and make something cool, I guess.
Yeah.
And
so you've got the ingredients there, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. We had a guy called, a friend of mine called Dave Crew, come and play bass, and we started writing songs, and it was coming out like kind of, at the time we were all listening to bands like Dinosaur Pile Up. I don't know if you've heard of them. No, they're like a kind of British grunge band, and we listened to a lot of Foo Fighters and Queens of Stone Age and Pearl Jam and stuff like that. Cool. So we're kind of trying to do a grungy rocky thing, but obviously whatever you write is what you write.
Yeah.
It just comes out. Yeah. You can't choose what type of music you write.
Can't. I've always done that before. There's been one of the times where I'll listen to a band, and like there's been times where I've just listened to a song and I'm like, I want to rip that off.
Yeah.
But then I'll go home and what I interpret that when I write it comes out
completely different.
It's so weird.
You can hear what you've done.
Yeah.
You can hear where you've ripped it off. Yeah. But it doesn't sound nothing like the fucking song that you're trying to rip off.
Never does.
Yeah. So we started writing some songs. We had a couple of lineup changes. We had loads of different people come through and play with us. And we probably didn't play a gig for a couple of years. Martin left, Dave left, Dan stuck around on and off, and then we finally got a live set up with a guy called Sean Ingram on bass who used to play in the Foul Zones, if you know the Foul Zones, and Tom Hill on drums, who was the previous drummer for Maven. So it's me, Robbie, Dan, Tom Hill on drums, and Sean Ingram on bass. We started playing live, and we had such a good reception. People really enjoying the music because it wasn't metal.
Yeah.
So the people who weren't really into metal, who stuck around for Subversion and stuff for me, like they enjoyed this more, and it wasn't as punky as Bear Trap. It was a lot lighter and riffier, should I say? Yeah. So there was a middle of the road element to it, I guess, at the start. But then as it grew, we had some more lineup changes. We're now a 4-piece. It's me and Robbie still, and Tom on drums. Martin Kingsmill, who played drums before, has come back and now playing bass. And it's turned into this kind of beer-fueled, weird, heavy rock shit that I can't even explain what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like anything that we intended.
You guys definitely hit hard. I mean, you and me played together, I think last at that Red Raw Festival about a year and a half ago, and that was my first time seeing you guys, and it was hard hitting. Like it really was, and like your energy in particular on stage is just fucking.
Oh man,
awesome.
I fucking love to go for it.
You're very encapsulating.
Thank you. That's really kind of you to say. I love going for it. I think no matter where you're playing, you have to act like you're playing fucking Wembley Stadium.
You do.
Because
you have to enjoy it as well.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter how many people are in the audience. We've played to no one. We've played to a packed house. You know, I will be exactly the same on stage every single fucking time. Yeah. And each time I will come off with a sore neck and a sore back. Every single fucking night, and my throat will be killing me. That's just what we do. And that's what it is now. So we released an EP. People seem to like it. Released a single and a video. People really fucking like that. And now we're currently recording another EP of the first. I think it's the first 3 songs we ever wrote. You know what it's like when you start a band. You write a bunch of songs and you start to get bored of them, and then you write some new songs, and those are the cool songs.
Yeah.
So we left it like 3 or 4 years.
Every time you write a new song, that's your best song ever.
Exactly. We left it like 3 or 4 years, and then we went, let's go back and listen to those old songs. We're like, oh shit, man, these are fucking 6 songs. Let's go and record them. So we just decided we're going to go into the studio with Ben Waters, who recorded our first EP of Forgotten Media Group, and we said we want to record these old songs. Let's fucking do it. So that's what we're doing at the moment.
Cool. What's the writing process like in Follow the Hawk then? Obviously, so are you obviously being the main vocalist? Are you the lyricist as well? Or do you all sort of chip in everywhere?
We all chip in. I think originally, because it was I had a vision for the band. Originally, I was kind of writing songs with the help of Robbie and Martin. And then as it's grown, we've all put stuff in, even vocals. We've got songs that Robbie has written predominantly all the vocals for. He's a brilliant wordsmith. I don't know where he gets it from, but he's like a poet. It's so fucking weird, the stuff that he writes. Really cool. He writes the majority of the riffs because he's a fucking riff lord. He slams on the guitar, and I write a lot of the basic shape of the song, I guess is the right way of saying it. I'll write some.
You're helping me like the structure.
Yeah, I'll write the chords, and you have a verse, chorus, ending, whatever, and then I'll take to the band. For the most part, this isn't the way it always goes, but I'll take to the band and I'll say, "Hey, this is what I got," and then Robbie will go, "Right, strip that back, slap this on." Martin will go, "I've got this fucking crazy shit on the bass," and then Tom just hits the drums harder than I've ever heard anyone hit the fucking drums. And it always comes out sounding fucking perfect. Awesome. And I can't see myself writing music with anyone apart from these other three dudes.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
Just like a gel happening.
Yeah,
like
it's perfect.
Very natural.
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool. That's an environment you want to be in.
Exactly.
So awesome. All right. Well, let's talk about the guitar you got with you today.
Yeah.
Let's what we've got here.
So, before I talk about this guitar, I listened to your podcast with Pete, your first one, and you spoke about the Telecaster, and you said, I think Telecaster was made in the 1950s, and you said, anyone that knows, hit us up and let us know.
Oh, yes.
I know, I fucking know,
I
saved it. So the Telecaster was made in the 1950s, but it was originally, so it was the first electric guitar that was popular, essentially, and had good tone and people wanted to use it. It was originally, I believe, called, this is a very short history of the Telecaster, originally called the Fender Esquire, then called the Fender Broadcaster, and then re-released as the Fender Esquire Telecaster. There you go. That's a short history of the Telecaster.
The more you know.
The more you know. So this is a Fender Squire Strat that I've had since my mid-teens. It was given to me by my dad's friend Les, and I fucking love it, and it's been my go-to guitar ever since. It's really strange because obviously because I didn't buy it, I don't know an awful lot about it, but the research that I've done on it, the serial number starts with an E1. Now it's either a Korean Strat from the late 80s, or it's an American Squire from the late 80s, early 90s. I can't really pin it down. There's contradicting, you know what fucking guitar forums are.
Oh yeah.
Everything's contradicting. But either way, I know for a fact that this is one of the very sought after Squire guitars, Squire models. It's missing its backplate there, but it's fucking amazing. It plays like a dream. I just had it recently set up by a friend of mine called Rich, who plays in a band called Gigawatts and Gold, and I fucking love it.
Yeah, so it's in pretty damn fucking good condition for
considering it's got a few
its age.
Yeah, it's got a few bumps and nicks on the neck. It's got a tiny bit of fucking buckle rash, not much.
The actual condition in front here is super clean, well looked after.
Yeah, so I tried to kind of, you can see if I take these off, you can see like it's still got bits of the fucking original plastic from the scratch plate. See, it's like, look at that come off right there. Yeah. But these are like stained by cigarette tar and shit like that, you know, from years of it being in the house where I originally lived, and then in my house where I was smoking at the time and with smokers. So everything's a little bit, got a bit of a brown tinge to it.
Just adds character.
Yeah, it does add character. It's quite nice. I've got a little scratch here that looks like an unhappy face.
You do.
You won't be able to see that, but there's a little unhappy face on top of the guitar there. So yeah, this is it. This is the Squire Strat that I've owned. The first ever electric guitar that I played.
Oh, cool.
Essentially.
Awesome. I mean, well, with the single coil setup, sort of with the pickups, obviously it kind of suits the music that you're doing, doesn't it?
Exactly. 3 single coils. It's really... So it sounds heavy, but it's really twangy as well at the same time.
Nice bright tone to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I always have it on... I have it on the bridge pickup. Just because it sounds the best on the bridge pickup. I use 11... I think these are 11 to 54 strings.
What tune is that? Just standard tune?
I play in DADGAD.
DADGAD.
Yeah. So I've got. Am I on? No, I'm not. So it's DADGAD. Is what I play in. Robbie plays in drop D standard.
Okay. So you're playing 2 different tunes in that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bit odd, but I liked the idea of if it's in DADGAD, I can kind of. So I can play these kind of. Really simple, pretty chords without having to do bar chords. I fucking hate bar chords. Although that is essentially a bar chord of
just
sort.
play differently.
Yeah, and I just felt that it had a lot more versatility. I guess. Okay, that sounds a bit rubbish, but you can play like. I use these strings, the top strings, as like kind of drone strings.
Okay.
So I drone them out a lot. So I'll. You know, so I let those ones ring out over whatever chord, and I can move those chords up and still have those strings droning in the background.
That's always fun. I do like it when people do that.
Yeah, so that's what I do with this. I'm, as you'll find out, or you know already, I'm a guitarist who knows nothing about guitar. I'm not really a guitarist at all. I'm a vocalist, but I just kind of play loud music on a really old beaten up guitar. But yeah, I fucking love this. I don't know enough about it. I should know a hell of a lot more. It's been covered in blood multiple times from me cutting my fingers open because I never hold my pick right. So it's kind of, it's literally got me inside of it. This is me in a guitar.
Somewhere in that pick.
In the pickup, behind the pick guards, you know, there is my fucking blood. You could clone me from this guitar. So that's how much it means to me. And I guess without it, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So thank you, Les, for giving this to me all those years ago. You're a fucking diamond.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, well, let's move on to like what we're plugging into then. Let's talk about your orange Dual Terror.
Yes, so I've got a Dual Terror. I'll probably just move the guitar out of the way and then you can see a little bit maybe. So yeah, this is the Dual Terror. I guess it's the Tiny Terror's younger, fatter brother, in a way. Obviously, it has the sound of. I use it on the Tiny Terror channel. So if you probably know about the orange amps anyway. The Tiny Terror is just a really basic lunchbox amp that sounds fucking sick.
Oh yeah, they pack so much punch
in such a small fucking thing. Obviously, it's got that lovely tube sound, which I really enjoy. It's heavy to pick up, as you found out earlier when you tried to carry it from the guitar,
for its size.
from the car. Yeah, for its size. I've got it on half here at the moment. I've got my lovely settings in pink tape along the top.
Yeah, I was going to discuss that. I was going to say, why have we covered up the main
the main bit? So this was Ben, the guy that records and looks after us a lot. We did ages ago before we went out on tour. We did a little sound prep in the Lion, and he was like, right, this is your sound. This is exactly where it needs to be, and I'm going to fucking put a big piece of tape across the front so you know exactly where every knob should be. And I was like, yep, that sounds good to me. But the only thing is, he always says put it on half. I never fucking put it on half. I put it on full, obviously, on all those tubes. But yeah, I love it. A little bit backstory, I guess. It was bought second hand with the cab, the 2x12 closed back. Closed back? Yeah, it's a closed back. And it was bought for me by my Aunt Ruth. who passed away sadly a few years back. So she bought it for me with the view that I would then help her out with some work to kind of pay it off.
Right.
Essentially, never got the chance to finish off the work because she passed away. But it's kind of like a little bit of her is in the setup. Really, she was always a big fan of me pursuing what I wanted to do musically. So it's really cool that she bought it for me, and it will never ever get sold. No matter what I play in the future, I mean, I'm sure at some point I will.
So it's got that sentimental.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, I'm sure at some point I'll upgrade the amp itself to something bigger, but I'll always have it, and it will probably go on most things that I do, recording wise and stuff. Okay. I'll sneak it in there somehow.
So I mean, did she know about this amp in general?
She didn't have a clue.
It, or
no.
Just like...
Well, I found it originally on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, whatever the equivalent was at the time. And the guy was like, "Yeah, come check it out." And I went and checked it out, and I was like, "Well, I don't have the money. I can't remember how much he was selling it for at the time. I think it was only like fucking 600 quid for the pair or something like that."
That's not bad.
And my mum had told my aunt that I was looking at this amp, and she went, "I'll buy it for him."
Wow.
So she just gave me the money, and I went and bought it. She's a diamond, man. She was great. But yeah, so this is pretty much what I have from her and will have for the rest of my life, and I fucking love it. It's packs a punch. It's nasty as fuck. It does have it has a fat channel as well. So sorry, go back to the actual specifics of the amp, not just the sentimental value. So it's got two channels. It's got the Terror channel and the fat channel. I only use the Terror channel really. I might use the fat channel sometimes when recording, just to give a different tone. But live, I only use the Terror channel. You can plug a switch pedal into it. I don't bother. Right. I don't need to.
No. So you don't have anything on stage on the floor with you at all? Just
so I did for a long time. I used a Soul Food Overdrive. I don't know if you know that pedal.
I don't know that pedal. No. Not that particular brand.
I can't tell you who it's by. I've completely forgotten.
We'll
yeah, I was using a Soul Food Overdrive with this, so I just have I have the fat channel on usually, rolled up a little bit on the gain, and then put this pedal over the top of it. But I kind of like the basicness of it. You know what I mean? I like it just being really straightforward, as simple as possible. No fucking bullshit. I've just got my Polytune pedal, and that's all I use now.
Cool.
I probably will at some point go back to the overdrive pedal, or maybe a different one. I like the OCD overdrive pedal. I also like, your classic Ibanez Tube Screamer.
Aye. The go-tos.
Yeah, exactly. And I really am a go-to guy when it comes to amps and pedals. I don't usually get anything too crazy.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my setup, really. If you are interested, I use Ultex picks. These fucking bad boys, yeah, man, they're nuts. They're so thick. They have in many a time cut my strings in half. But yeah, I love these because they're just like fucking really chuggy fucking picks. Yeah.
Awesome.
But that's it.
Can you give us an example of this? Let's hear how it sounds.
Okay. This is where I fuck up and play something disgustingly wrong now. But yeah, as you can hear as well, the pots are nice and crackly, just the way I like them. Yeah. So that is what it sounds like, essentially.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
it's nice rock.
Exactly.
Sound to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a proper basic rocky, chunky sound. It's still got, as you can hear, that brightness and high end from the single
twang we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, which I love, always have. I have I almost ventured to get in a Gibson guitar for a little while. but I decided not to. I think the fact that it's a Strat through this and that tone, not too chunky, kind of really...
It's a good combination.
Yeah, it does really work. I'm sure at some point I'll probably... I don't know. I don't know. I like this guitar too much to want to play something else, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it.
I did for a little while want like, I don't know, like an Explorer or something like that, but...
No.
I'm a Fender guy, really.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of Explorers myself.
Well, there you go. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm a Fender guy. I nearly bought a Telecaster a little while ago. I did actually buy a black top Fender Jazzmaster, which has got a single coil and a humbucker. But I've never used it because I've never had it set up. I don't know how much you know about Jazzmasters, but they are notorious for like the bridges are just fucking shit. You can't play heavy music on them because the strings just jump out the saddles.
Oh.
So you usually have to either change the bridge to like a something from a Gibson guitar or something. I think you can kind of slot in there, or file the saddles down, or buy a mastery bridge which costs like fucking 200 quid, which I can't be bothered to buy even though it's not actually that expensive. So that's kind of sat there gathering dust for about 3 years in my bedroom, which is a shame because it's a really tasty guitar. But
like I said, this is your go-to, isn't it?
This is my go-to, and I think I'll always be Fender, no matter what I move to. It'll always be Fender, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
There we go. All right, cool. Well, we're going to take a break there, guys. During the break, we're going to be playing. Keeping Up Appearances from the upcoming Follow the Hawk EP.
Oh no, from the current Follow the Hawk EP.
The current one. My apologies. All right. It is Keeping Up Appearances by Follow the Hawk. See you guys soon.
We're gonna start by burning up. We're cooling up, but who gives a fuck? You wanna know who calls the shots? Well, that's me, but you know you'll never know. Hey, hey, yeah, we heard it before because your voice it goes round, round, round. Shut your mouth, don't wait your cats. Hell yeah. Shut your mouth because you can't say nothing. Hell yeah. You got it all wrong. Hell yeah. Shut your mouth because you can't say nothing again. Hell yeah. When here we go on another round. Tell me more and how you got a great job and how you're such a fucking big shot. Well, I guess I gotta keep sleeping up. It's harder than everybody thinks. Hey, hey, no waits come back. We're too late 'cause I'm gone. We're getting on with the show. Hell yeah. Shut your mouth because you can't say nothing. Hell yeah. You got it all wrong. Hell yeah. You shut your mouth because you can't say nothing again. Hell yeah. When here we go on another round.
Hello, welcome back to part 2. That was Keeping Up Appearances by Follow the Hawk from the EP of the same name. That was pretty fucking cool, man. Some freaking awesome riffs in there.
Cheers,
So
man.
can
Thank you
you
very much.
talk us through the writing process of that song? Because like I hear a lot of Foo Fighters influence, and that's that sort of rock influence in there.
Yeah, so the writing process of that song in particular, probably as we started getting on, and like we'd written all their original songs and stuff like this. We're all big Foo fans. We're all big Every Time I Die fans as well. So if you don't know, Every Time I Die are like a kind of you can't really call them punk, I guess hardcore-y, punky band, party band from New York, from Buffalo, and we fucking love them so much. We'd like half of us have got Every Time I Die tattoos. We're like proper lifers. So our musical taste kind of was growing to be a kind of weird mix between that kind of Foo Fighters, Queens of the Stone Age rock music, and this kind of weird party booze-fueled music. And that, I guess, is a prime example of those two things. It's got the main riff, the riff that just kind of goes on and on throughout the whole song. And yeah, I think when we first wrote that, we had obviously the big heavy drums on it, and we wrote the end of the song before we wrote the rest of the song. So we wrote the end with the kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pick scrape bit, and thought that sounded fucking sick. And then we went back and wrote the rest of the song and just went, we could just do this one riff throughout the whole fucking song. It's gonna sound sick because it's a sick riff.
It's a pretty cool riff. Bouncy, it's lively.
And live, when we play it live as well, it's one of those songs that really, we like to play it usually at the start of the set because it gets everyone going.
Yeah.
It's a proper headbangy riff, especially at the end when the drums go half time, and it just really works. So we wrote that. Lyric wise, it's about, I hate talking about the reasons behind lyrics because it always sounds so lame. But it's kind of about being in a dead-end job, and everyone around you kind of doing better than you, which as musicians, we all know all too well, because for some strange reason, we all have it in the back of our mind that one day we're going to be fucking famous. So we can't get a proper job, because then we won't have any time to do the fucking music that we like. So we're all poor as fuck, and everyone around us is kind of going up and up and up, and they've all got fucking office jobs in the city, and they're all fucking going out to cocktail bars and and holidays, and stuff like this. And it's pretty much like a kind of fuck you to people that act like they're better than you, sort of thing.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, shut the fuck up, I don't want to listen to you anymore, sort of thing.
So something like other musicians can relate to.
Yeah, essentially.
Gig goers in general can relate to.
Yeah.
Have a drink and just be like, right, fuck these guys.
Yeah, exactly. We're here for a reason.
This song.
Yeah. I'm completely fine with not earning any money as long as I can be playing my fucking music.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Alright, cool. What about other like musical influences in general, sort of like, I mean, because to me I can hear like as well in that song, like, kind of sounds like it would fit nicely back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, which is what I like about it. It's got that sort of modern feel to it as well. So like, what other sort of like musical influences are there?
As I said, obviously Foo Fighters, massive original influence. I know it's pretty uncool to be a Dave Grohl fan,
No,
but
definitely not.
But like dad rock.
Dave Grohl.
Yeah, but the guy in my eyes can do no fucking wrong.
Cool little side story for those who don't know Charlie. He proposed to his now wife at a Foo Fighters show.
Yeah, I did.
That was a pretty cool. That story actually went kind of viral, didn't
it?
it?
Yeah. So it was Glastonbury 2017. I had it all kind of planned. So I went to work at Glastonbury that year with the sound team, setting up some of the stages, and I had a friend of mine pick up the ring for me whilst I was there. So it's my nan's ring. It was I believe it's one of the last pieces of jewellery that my mum had from her mum. So throughout the whole of the festival, I've got this fucking ring in my pocket, like going, oh my god, I can't fucking lose it. And it gets to whatever it was, Saturday night at the festival, and I've got it in my pocket. And we're right down the front watching the show, and I looked down at the floor, and I realised there was a box of crumpled up cigarettes on the floor, and like a couple of other pieces of crap, like just pocket shit. And I went, oh shit, they're my fags. Oh shit, that's like my phone. Oh fuck! And I'm like going, shit, everything's fallen out of my pocket. The only thing that stayed in my pocket was the ring in the box. Somehow, maybe because the box was so fucking big. But yeah, so they played Everlong, last song in a set, and during a little break in it, I got down on one knee and said, like, will you marry me? She started crying, obviously, because I'm so amazing. And then all of a sudden, as she said yes, fucking fireworks went off into the sky, and I was like,
couldn't have timed that
shit! Yeah, this is nuts. Some guy, a friend of ours, took a short video clip and put it on Twitter. Another guy who was in the audience, who I still don't know to this day, took a picture, really nicely edited it as well whilst he was at the festival, and then posted it on Twitter. And then Enemy Magazine picked it up, and there was a little piece on their website about it. Couple get engaged during Foo Fighters set at
That's awesome.
So yeah, that was really cool. So our musical influences, there's a lot of Foo Fighters there. There's a lot of Queens of the Stone Age. I think Josh Homme is an amazing musician. Not sure what he's like as a person, but he seems like he is a very, very good musician. I've liked pretty much everything that he's done, even from like early days, when he was doing the desert rock stuff and the droney music with Caius, I really love that sort of stuff. And then obviously you've got me and Robbie are both massive Gallows fans, or definitely back in the day when Frank was fronting the band, and even now with Wade from Alexis on Fire now being a vocalist. I love all that punky stuff, that really fast punky stuff. We're all massive Eated fans. Every Time I Die, all four of us. I think if you were to ask us what our favourite band is as a collective, that would be the band. Okay. We go to see them every time they're in town. We have met them all multiple times. It's really hard. And if you talk about older stuff, I mean, Beatles, obviously. It's kind of a go-to, isn't it?
Classic British rock.
Yeah. It's quite weird. I think a few years ago I was speaking with a friend of mine and trying to talk about who I thought the three most influential rock acts were. And when I say the most influential, I mean like who have done the most for the rock scene in general. And they all came off as British bands. So I said the Beatles, Queen.
Oh yeah, definitely. And
Sabbath.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Without Sabbath, metal music would be nothing, I personally think. And Queen, once again...
I'd probably put Iron Maiden in that category as well.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, Maiden, yeah. Especially probably now, because I think Maiden are...
Because I don't think there's, especially with metal, there's probably not one metal guitarist that you could speak to in our scene who wouldn't have Iron Maiden as like an early influence.
Yeah, but then you could say the same about Tony on guitar. Yeah. I mean, like the fact that he doesn't even play with all of his real fucking fingers anymore, for goodness' sake, is ridiculous. Queen, obviously, Freddie Mercury's voice is, in my personal opinion, one of, if not the best fucking voice ever.
Yeah. Of all time, actually.
Yeah.
I've always said that. And it always bums me out that I was never able to see Queen.
Yeah, me too, man. I would love that.
I've been tempted to like go see them with Adam Lambert. I think it's good, but I've never pulled the trigger on that because I just don't think it's the same.
Yeah,
I enjoy watching them with Adam Lambert. I think Adam Lambert's a good fit.
He's a good showman. I think I speak about this quite frequently, which is I guess makes me a bit of a loser. But I always think you could have gone online and found someone who was just as good, if not better, than Adam Lambert, and played the fucking piano. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. But I think maybe the other sort of flip side to that is...
They don't want another Freddie.
They don't want another Freddie.
Exactly, yeah. That is, you can't replace him.
No.
Yeah. I do love... I love when you see the what was it? The charity concert that they did, and George Michael was singing "Find Me Somebody to Love," and no one, next to Freddie, no one has been better in Queen than George. It was fucking amazing. I love that video.
That's pretty.
It's so good. Yeah, and then the Beatles, obviously, Paul and John being one of the greatest pop music writing duos ever. I'm a really big George Harrison fan as well. I think his music is fucking great. He's an amazing guitarist, or was an amazing guitarist. Yeah, so for me, influence-wise, yeah, you've got stuff like that, and you can go to more American bands like fucking Little Feat. Do you know Little Feat?
No, I'm not familiar with them.
They're a small band fronted by a guy called Lowell George, or was fronted by a guy called Lowell George. He was originally a member of the Mothers of Invention with Frank Zappa.
Cool.
And then went off and did his own thing. Supertramp.
Oh yeah, Supertramp.
Fucking love Supertramp. All sorts of bands like that, you know what I mean? Like really cool old 70s rock music. I love. I really find it hard to think what Follow the Hawk's main influences are though, really.
There's definitely a lot in there.
There's so much in there.
But that modern feel, like you can. I feel like while listening to that, I was kind of being taken back a little bit, like maybe a decade or two with the sound.
Yeah.
But it had that modern feel to it, which is really cool. Which I really enjoyed. Talking about the vocals on that, was that all your vocals on that? Because obviously they've got like a lot going on there.
Yeah, so Robbie also does a lot of the screamy vocals or shouty vocals. He's got a really fucking unique shouty voice, I personally think. He always trumps me when it comes to doing those hard vocals. Considering me and him have been in bands for years and we did Bear Trap together where I was predominantly always fucking shouting and screaming, and he would sometimes add a little bit in on the mic. But it's not been until this that I've actually gone, whoa, you should be doing that.
More.
Yeah, you should be fucking doing that because your voice is amazing. So yeah, he really stepped up in that EP, and the EP that we got coming out, he's doing a bit more as well. Yeah, he's recently taken up singing as well. Like he plays in another band called Jinx with Jack Coxon and Jack Newton, who are from the area, and they're like a really weird psychedelic rock funk band, and Robbie's playing bass for them and singing as well as Jack.
Is he doing like main vocals singing? Or?
No, Jack Coxhill does the main vocals, and then Jack Newton, the drummer, and Robbie do backing vocals. So they do like 3-part harmonies and stuff, and it sounds really fucking cool.
Right, well let's talk about your vocals. So I want to ask about, because you've got quite an amazing voice. I've heard you sing many times over the years in many different styles. I mean, you've even actually done guest vocals for my old band at the show, which was fucking awesome.
Thank you.
So, like, not to go back too far, but like, how did the vocals start? And like, when you formed Follow the Hawk, was that like a key thing? Like, yeah, that's it. I'm doing the vocals for that, or like?
Yeah, I think when we did Follow the Hawk, I kind of obviously coming off the back of Bear Trap and then Subversion. Subversion, I wasn't the main vocalist for the whole part, and then I left Subversion and said to myself, I really want to do that again. I want to front a band properly and be the main singer, because that's what I really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously there's a lot of, you can never sound like anyone who isn't you. You know, like you can't force yourself to sound. As much as I would love to have that perfect rock Dave Grohl voice or that amazing Freddie Mercury voice,
you can't.
It's never going to happen.
No. You can only, like I said, you can only sound like you.
Yeah.
You can get better at being you.
Yeah, exactly.
But you'll only ever be you with your voice.
And you can take influences and techniques from other people, which you can hear in certain things. So, like, I think a lot of my youth, I was trying to sound like Gerard Way from MCR.
Great voice, though.
Yeah, fucking amazing voice. And Dave Grohl and...
Have you ever heard of Mark Martel?
I know the name.
He's a YouTube guy he is Freddie Mercury reincarnated. That guy.
Yes, I've seen his videos.
Amazing.
And he's playing like,
and he does a great job of
stuff.
that, but he's just so lucky to be able to do that.
And he looks a bit like Freddie as well, right?
I feel like he's got the same jaw structure as well.
Yeah.
Like he's got that kind of overbite. So like I feel like that definitely contributes.
I wonder if he's gone out of the way to do that himself, like he's broken his own jaw
like
to give himself an overbite.
Bit the curve and got someone to kick him in the back of the head or something.
I really want to look like Freddie. Yeah, he's really fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
He's got a great voice.
But like I said, like, he still just sounds like him, but it's just very fortunate that his style is very close to Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
And when I was doing it, I was once again trying to sound like certain people. But as I got on to doing Follow the Hawk more, I was like, right, all I can do is take influence from people. So I took a hell of a lot of influence from Justin Hawkins from The Darkness.
Ooh.
Now, as you can hear, my voice is nothing like his. I can't sing high pitched. I can't do that crazy falsetto shit that he does. But he does a lot of up and down. He goes into notes and out of notes a lot.
Yeah.
And I do that, and that's from him, from singing along to the fucking Darkness, because I love The Darkness. So yeah, I picked stuff like that up, and then trying to do like really gruff sort of things is all from Dave Grohl, and really smooth things would be from Josh Homme, and yeah, that's just how it is really. But I will never ever sound like anyone apart from me. And I guess when I was younger, I probably hated that, but I've come to accept it now, and
you're older and you kind of realise, oh, I don't sound like you.
Yeah, I can't sound like anyone else apart from myself. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same with guitar playing as well. There's plenty of guitarists you can emulate out there.
Exactly.
But everyone's got their own way of playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a lot easier with guitars because you've got effects and sounds and stuff. You can emulate sounds, but like your technique will always be yours.
Well, yeah, you can go on fucking YouTube, and if I type in an album, like I want my guitar tone to be like the guitar tone off this album, and they will tell me exactly what amp, exactly what guitar, exactly what pedals.
Well, I play with that Kemper over there, and one of the first things I did with that Kemper was I went online and I dug out some David Gilmour
Yes,
tones.
exactly.
And I then went and immediately learned the Comfortably Numb solo.
Yes.
And while it sounded good and I was impressed,
Didn't sound like Gilmour.
I filmed myself and looked back on it and I was like, it's still not David Gilmour, man.
Mate, Floyd are fucking amazing, and it's one of those weird things, isn't it? You obviously you get upset for what they went through as a band, but without that shit happening, we wouldn't know who Gilmour is,
no.
And we would never have heard that side of Pink Floyd, and that was such an influential side of music. Like we wouldn't have that without the fucking shit that they went through.
Comfortably Numb itself is one of my favourite songs.
It's banger, man. I love that song.
Absolutely. I'll watch that live.
You know the Scissor Sisters cover as well. Have you heard that? Mate, I love that as well. That's fucking sick.
Talking about covers, that segues into something I wanted to discuss quite briefly. So last time I saw Follow the Hawk, you guys done a cover of The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. Pulled that out of nowhere, and that blew me away. You guys covered that song awesomely. So the reason why I wanted to ask about that was, when you guys sort of throw covers in there, are they conscious? Are they like, do you think, right, that's a song we can cover, we should cover it, or do you go for a couple and think, which is the best one? Because you guys covered that very fucking well. I was super impressed with that one.
That's really kind. Well, Fleetwood Mac was a no-brainer. My favourite guitarist of all time is Lindsey Buckingham.
Cool.
I fucking love him. There's no one that plays guitar like him. It's really fucking weird. So I've always been a massive Mac fan.
I've always found my Fleetwood Mac stuff as well. Like, I've learned a couple of songs over the years, and I've always found it's actually a lot harder than it sounds.
Yeah.
Like, I learned Landslide recently, just only like half the song, but it was a lot harder than I thought.
Yeah.
I found the tabs online. I looked at it, I was like, this is actually harder than it sounds.
Well, he somehow manages to play like two guitar parts in one. It's really fucking weird. And when you hear, like, obviously, because he's left the band at the moment, he's not with the band anymore, and they've had to get two guitarists in to do one guitarist's job, because no one can play like him. It's fucking weird. But yeah, so we did The Chain. It lends itself to us because of the ending, and you can make it really big and heavy. We've always had a thing with covers. I think the first ever cover we did was a cover of Low by Foo Fighters, and I wrote an arrangement of it, which is really weird and kind of spacky. I do a lot of weird sort of weird shit in it. And after that, I took it upon myself to decide, because I'm such a fucking egotistical maniac. I said, right guys, we're not going to play a song, we're not going to do a cover unless it's at least 10 years old. I don't want to be one of these bands that comes out and plays like, a cover of the latest single by X band or whatever, you know what I mean? So the song has to be at least 10 years old for us to fucking do a cover of it. And we will never do a straight cover of a song. It will always be as if we wrote it. So we will take a song and go like, what would this song sound like if Follow the Hawk wrote it? And that's how we'll play it. So we've done Low, we've done The Chain, we've done Hand That Feeds by 9 Inch Nails,
cool song.
We've done Keeps Yourself by Ruben, which to be fair didn't need that much changing to it because we take a lot from Ruben anyway. And I think we did a Green Day song. Actually, I think that show that we played with ATF in New Cross for Crampton Sing, we did a cover of a Green Day song because Crampton was a big Green Day fan.
Yeah.
So we were like, right, in honour to him, we'll do a Green Day cover, and I can't for the life of me remember which one it was.
That's the reason why I busted out a solo version of a Green Day song myself.
Yeah, man.
I didn't want to do that. That wasn't a thing that I was comfortable with, but I had to sort of push myself further.
Yeah.
The reason behind that show.
Exactly.
But did you hear of Evanescence's cover of The Chain?
No,
You haven't heard that? Don't listen to it.
I've heard a few covers of it by different bands, and I've always been like, everyone tries to make it this really overly polished thing, and Fleetwood Mac are not a fucking overly polished band, man.
No, but I mean, obviously, with The Chain, you've got that big ending, especially like the build up to it, you know, the boom, 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 boom. Evanescence covered it recently, and I thought they were doing a great job of the cover until that point. They just kind of bled into that outro section, just straight away. There was no build up to it, and I was kind of like,
disgusting.
And
fuck off.
That main sort of bass line was kind of put on the back foot, like the song.
And that's what the song is, man. Everyone remembers that the bit before then the octave, you know, and
they completely missed all that. And I appreciate that they were trying to do their own interpretation of it, but like, there's some bits you can't leave out, man, and you got to have that gap in there to build up to that.
Well, I remember the first time I ever heard that bass bit was when they used to play it on the fucking Formula 1 racing,
that's what
or whatever it was. So it was like, it's the
F1
racing
thing.
song, yeah. And I was never a F1 guy, but I would hear it if my granddad or my dad was watching it or something. And I was like, yeah, this is a fucking groovy thing. And then I found out who Fleetwood Mac were, and then I heard the song and I heard the end. I was like, oh my god, it's that. And the rest of the song is just as fucking good. It's really cool, that chorus, and the way we do it really punchy. If you don't love me now, you know, we do it really fucking staccato and big.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you've got to, when you do a cover of a song, not to piss on Evanescence, but you've got to take something of what the original song does, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't, as I say, they weren't a fucking clean cut band. They were cocaine fueled megalomaniacs. They all hated each other, and if you don't make the song sound like you're doing some sort of ode to that period of their life, then you might as well not be fucking playing the song.
Yeah, I mean, it's like doing a cover of Comfortably Numb, your own version, and not having a big epic outro solo.
Yeah.
Like, no one would like that.
Like,
you could well, they done their own version of it, didn't they? They completely fucking turned it upside down. But if I was going to do like an homage to Comfortably Numb, we'd have to have that big outro section that it deserves.
And squealing guitar,
yeah.
Woo! You know, you got to have that, yeah.
Alright, cool. So just quickly skipping back to the old vocals and stuff. So, how did vocals sort of come around for you? Like, obviously you talk about like singing a lot to your favourite bands back in the day, but when did you sort of think, oh, hold on, I've got something here in my voice that I can use for bands and stuff?
So I'm really lucky. I said earlier that my dad played guitar in the house a lot. My mum was and is still a singer, and always sings, and used to sing in the car. Obviously, that's where I would hear her the most. But she used to do amateur dramatics, and she did for a very short while. Was kind of like a semi-professional opera singer, and had sung at the Albert Hall and this and the other. So I knew of singing from her, and she didn't force it upon me, but she knew that I enjoyed listening to her, so she knew that I in turn would enjoy singing. So like I would sing along if she was singing, or then I'd start singing on my own in my bedroom, and yeah, it was encouraged.
Yeah.
in my house to be musical, and at the time, being a child, one of the easiest things, if you've got some sort of pitch, is to sing, because you don't have to learn how to do something.
Needs to be in the house.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can do for free.
Yeah, so I would just
whenever you want.
Yeah, so we would just sing in the house. So what? I don't know if that sounds weird or what, but yeah, I would sing a lot around the house. And then I myself used to do some amateur dramatic shows and stuff in a theatre in Elton called the Bob Hope Theatre. And I think I realised there that I really enjoyed it, and I developed this thing that I used a lot in Subversion, which is kind of an almost operatic style to my voice. I learned how to breathe properly and sing from your diaphragm instead of singing from your chest or your throat. And yeah, my voice kind of developed from there. Obviously I did Bear Trap, which was nothing like that. I was kind of just wanting to do what everyone else was doing at the time. And then Follow the Hawk, you'll hear in some songs, maybe in like songs like Alive and stuff like that, and some of the newer ones we're bringing out. I went back to kind of, right, use your voice properly. You can do that rock stuff, but you also need to look after your voice, because it's a fucking muscle, man. You can rip that shit, you can break that shit. It's not going to be there forever if you don't treat it well. No. So trying to warm up as much as I can now, and just using my voice properly, and that's how I developed my sound. I guess it's kind of a mixture of that stuff that I was doing in the mid-2000s, and then the stuff that I should have been doing the whole time, and smack them together. So you've got that gruff, horrible shit, and then you've got the nice, almost loud, operatic sort of vibe.
So what about how did it come to be like, okay, I'm going to be a guitarist and vocalist in a band? Because, I mean, for me, I'm no singer myself, but I do a bit of backing vocals in like my bands. And I mean, I have to practice vocals and playing an instrument so much, because I find it very difficult to separate the two. If I concentrate on one, the other goes out the window.
Yeah.
What about you being like the main vocalist for a band and playing guitar at the same time? Do you ever run into that problem sometimes?
Well, yeah, it didn't work at first. No fucking way, it did not work. I think when we were doing Bear Trap, towards the end of it, I started being a bit like, well, I want to fucking play guitar as well. You know what I mean? like a lot of, you see it in actual big bands as well. Bands that have just had a vocalist, or like every now and then Chino from Deftones will pick up a guitar and start playing. So he's not always just the guy at the front of the microphone. And I said, yeah, I want to fucking do that. So we wrote a song in particular where I played guitar along, and then I kind of learned a second guitar part to some of the other stuff that Robbie was doing, and I wasn't any good. I was shit. Right. And I mean, I'm not a guitarist. I'm just a guy who happens to play the guitar and sing. Okay. That I can openly say that. But when it came to Follow the Hawk, I was like, right, I want to do that. I want to be the guy at the front with the guitar and singing, because I want to be able to know where the song's going and write those songs. It was more for a sense of writing, be able to write the songs. I can't just sit there singing. I need to have a guitar and properly do it. So I would sit there for ages at home, writing these riffs and teaching myself to sing along. And still, to this day, I do it now. The recording we're doing at the moment, there's a guitar part that I've recorded, and then I've gone, shit, I can't fucking sing the line that I'm meant to be singing whilst playing that guitar part. So I'm sitting at home constantly playing the guitar and trying to sing.
You got to get that riff or the playing side bit into muscle memory as much as possible.
Exactly. You just got to teach it to yourself.
Yeah, because I mean, in my last band, I was asked to do backing vocals over a part where I'm doing a lead line and I'm doing sweep picking, and I had to do backing vocals over it.
Just can't fucking do it, can you?
It took me hours of standing in my bedroom with a microphone stand, just doing it over and over and over again until I got it. Eventually, I did get it to a point where, luckily, I was able to do this lead line completely without thinking about it. So I was able to focus on the vocal bit. Enough took a lot of work. Yeah. And it's only like 10 seconds. But enough took a lot of work for me. Yeah. I've always found that. I mean, with the piano as well.
I had a lot of trouble.
That was difficult.
Playing piano and singing. When I was doing Subversion, it was really fucking tricky.
Especially more intricate stuff. Chords are obviously fine. But the more intricate stuff.
The lead lines.
Many years ago, when I was a kid, I learned walking in Memphis on a piano.
6 tune.
I could never sing and play it. Never ever could I sing and play that song. something would have to give up.
Well, I think, as we've discussed earlier today, we're both Elton John fans.
Yes.
And, like, that guy can fucking do it, and he does it best, but, like, yeah, if it can be done, if someone can do it, then you can do it. You just got really fucking practice. Luckily, with me, with Follow Hawk, I don't play lead. I don't play lead lines. The majority of stuff I'm doing is chords. So it's relatively easy. But every now and then I will do a lick or a riff that I find it tricky.
Does it ever change the writing process for you? Do you have to change things about to adapt a song to suit you live?
Yeah, some of the songs, and sometimes it's for the better as well. Let me point out before I go there. So there's a song that we do at the moment. It's a relatively new song called Lemonade, where
I won't ask what that song's about. I think it's pretty obvious.
The chords in the chorus went into kind of a do bit at the end, and I couldn't do that bit and sing the part that I was doing. So I went, okay, I'm just going to do a weird octave thing up here instead, and just like kind of drony octave thing like I spoke about earlier, because I really like those drony notes in a song. And all of a sudden, the song sounded 10 times better with that bit, and it was easier to play to sing along to. So, you know, sometimes you're lucky.
That's pretty cool. What about when you're in the studio writing? Do you ever like? I can't remember who it was. I remember reading a thing ages ago, or seeing an interview with someone who he was trying to do his vocals in the studio, and it just wasn't sounding right at all. And he said, "Give me my guitar or bass, whichever it was." So they was like, "Well, what difference is it going to make?" Yeah, no, just give it to me. So they gave him his bass unplugged, and then he'd done his vocals while playing. He couldn't do the vocals on their own.
It's weird, isn't it?
And so, did you ever find anything like that with you, or do you just record all vocals and guitars all separately?
Well, usually I do record the two separately, but I hate my voice. It's so weird to say. Once again, I
don't think many people like their own voice.
Coming back to not being able to sound like someone else. I listen back to myself and I go, oh, it's horrible. And when you're recording, you've got the cans on your fucking head.
And your voice is
so fucking loud in your own ears. I find recording vocals really hard anyway. It's so strange. I can do it perfect, and I can hit notes live that I can't hit in the studio. It's really strange, and I think it's just the atmosphere.
Yeah,
you get a bit
adrenaline pumping. It's the excitement.
Yeah, you get a bit of red light fever as well. What I like to call it.
I'm totally a massive sufferer of red light fever.
Mate, you can play a fucking lick on the guitar 100 times perfectly. As soon as the red light goes on to record, you can't fucking do it.
No.
It's so weird. I hate it.
I am super. I'm a major sufferer. I might even start my own group. Red light sufferers.
I want to be the first person to join along with you. Okay.
We'll all sit in a circle. We'll all talk about how we can't record shit.
We'll have to do kind of immersive therapy where we'll put a red light on and try and sit there calm. Don't get tense.
I think I want to say that. We'll start a 12-step program.
Yes, we need it.
All right, cool. What about so let's talk about the lyrical side of things. So when you're writing lyrics for the Hawk, do you ever have topics in mind? Is it always stories, or can you just write random lyrics? Or?
It's strange. I think you tend to write, or this is obviously I can only speak from my own experience, but I tend to write stuff not really knowing what I'm writing, and then all of a sudden I go, hold on a second, that's that, you know what I mean? I've actually unknowingly written about something that's either happening in my life or has happened in my life.
So maybe writing from an experience from an unconscious point of view first,
exactly.
And then realising later.
Exactly. And I tend to use a fair amount of metaphors. There's a song, I won't go into detail about who it's about, but there's a song that I wrote that was about someone that I love very much committing suicide. And I didn't really know what I was writing about at the time, but this stuff was kind of just coming out of me, and I was just writing it down on fucking paper or your phone or whatever you use now. And after a little while, I refined it and looked back on it, and it just gets you right in the fucking throat, straight away, oh shit, I didn't even know that I was doing that. That's what I was writing about.
I guess that means after you've done, kind of realising as well, it's coming from a more meaningful place, I guess, really.
Yeah.
It's not conscious that you're thinking, right, okay, that's a serious topic that I want to write about.
Yeah.
You sort of realise something later, maybe it means more because it might be coming from a deeper
Exactly,
place,
yeah.
I reckon.
And I like the fact that, obviously, if people ask me about a certain lyric or a certain song, then I'll tell them about it. But I like the fact that people don't necessarily know what you're writing about. You know what I mean? I like to be able to go out there and sing my songs in a sort of therapeutic style for myself. And everyone is just going, yeah, this is a cool song. Yeah, I like those lyrics, but they don't necessarily know what it's about.
Yeah. They don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah. And I don't only write fucking doom and gloom lyrics. A lot of the lyrics are about fucking get drunk or being stupid, or they used to be back in the day. And then you got Robbie, who writes a lot of lyrics for Friar Hawk as well. He's a lot more methodical with it, and very poetic. He wrote the lyrics to a song that we do called Summer Winter, which is really lots of metaphors in it, and it's just really pretty. Once again, you wouldn't know what the song is about, and I'm not going to go into detail about it because it's relatively personal to him. Yeah. But when he explains it, you go, oh shit, man, that's fucking beautiful. Like, that's so cool. And I just like that idea, and it not just being random fucking shit, really. To put it any more poetically than I can, random fucking shit. Yeah.
Awesome. Alright, well, anyway, guys, I think we're going to end the episode there. I'd like to thank Charlie for being my guest today. A big thank you as well to our associates, Solar Guitars and Evertune, for their ongoing support in this podcast. A big thank you to anyone out there who's listening to this podcast, wherever you might be, and thank you for your support so far as well. Do you want to plug anything while we're here?
Yeah, sure. We've got a video coming out soon for our song Break, which was from our first EP, and we have a second EP coming out anytime soon. Name to be announced. We're not completely sure, but yeah, it's going to be really
got any working cool titles at all?
At the moment, it's just called 1, 2, 3. Because there are 3 songs on it, and the songs are called Song 1, Song 2 and Song 3. And it might very well stick to that. It might just be, fuck it, that sounds
might
cool.
have a copyright issue on the Song 2 part, though.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, we're definitely not doing a Blur cover on the record, yeah. But yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Cool. I will leave links to Charlie's band Follow the Hawk in the comments below, and also links to my band Charybdis if anyone wants to check us out. Thank you so much for being my guest today, Charlie.
Cheers, Pete. Thank you.
It's been great.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Take care.
So long.